And here you go. Blood milkshake.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
Sorry I'm
The
late.
person I'm supposed to meet.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I thought I was gonna be the late one. Currently covering for some people who are upstairs right now. Just give me like a couple of minutes. And
Yeah, no, you're
I should be
fine.
with you.
Yeah, no, you're okay. You're fine.
There it is.
In the meantime, can I get you anything?
No thank you. I'm good.
Sure. Well, if that changes, let me know. I'm behind here for an indiscernible,
Sure thing.
indiscernible amount of time.
Yeah, no, I was told that apparently there was a trash cleanup going on, which I'm not prepared for at all. Otherwise, I would help.
Yes,
I thought about helping, but I'll meet you instead. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's nice to meet you. My name is Sesame, but people sometimes call me Sparrow.
I'm Mia.
Of course.
Mia.
Do you have any
It's a nice name, actually.
cravings?
Thank you.
But yeah, when I'm done, we can talk. We can talk about things.
Sure.
Probably take one of the booths or go anywhere you want to.
Oh, it doesn't matter to me. Wherever you want to go.
The most abhorrent combination.
Well, yeah, just give me a couple minutes and I should be good.
All right.
Cucumber ice cream. What's wrong with you?
I don't. Many
Yeah,
things
what's
are
up?
wrong with me.
Well, I know that, but this is the worst yet.
Needler. That's something from your work. That's. I can't remember what it was.
No, I'm gonna judge you. It's what I do best with people. I judge them.
Oh dear.
Oh. Okay.
I was judging you when you're sharing things.
My what? My sharing thing?
It doesn't explode
Yes,
on its
what
own.
you whenever you're sharing things.
Well, that's actually really cool to have something else from that. Thank you so much. I wonder if I can. This is gonna sound weird. I wonder if I can fashion it into like a blade.
If you want another one, it's 20 credits. I'm not made out of money.
I'll add some.
No, I understand. I understand.
I think I know someone who can do something like that.
When will I get an opportunity to meet this elusive individual, by the way?
I can invite you
Oh,
over
and
to
you're almost made out of titanium too, so that's sure. Yeah, let me roll like a newspaper around it real quick.
You want me to meet your gang?
No, funnily enough, it's not the only thing from your world that I have. As weird as it is to say, considering the caliber of the weapon, like concealed
You
carry
want
is an
a
M16.
previous lawman to meet your gang?
Well, they don't know that you're a previous lawman.
Just the armor?
Very well.
Other place I can think of is.
Well, if you're ever in need of anything missile armory based, do you know Cupcake?
Not very often. Where do these people meet?
He's the
I
giant,
will have
like,
to show you the location. It's a.
he looks like a
bar,
monster, but he's an actually
but it has
really
something,
cool person.
things there that are for the game.
They work over at the
What
pawn
day
shop
do they
just on the
meet?
other side of the street. They actually sold me an M7 SMG before,
Sometimes it's
so
Fridays,
they have quite a bit of
Saturdays,
UNSC
Sundays,
equipment.
depending on what's going on that day.
So I might be able to meet them this evening.
Sorry?
Maybe, yeah. I'll have to do your time. Depending on if you're
Keep me
busy or
posted.
not.
That's
Well, if I'm gonna do this, I
and
might as do
from
it all
where
in
he
one
got it,
go.
his sources just they aren't UNSC arms. Yeah, no.
So I
if you
think
ever
I'm
need
my
like
third
any
swing
weapons
to be
that
at
are,
your wedding.
if you ever need like any weapons that are familiar to you,
Oh my gosh,
Cupcake
don't
might be
get
able
me
to
started
set you up
on
with
that.
something.
I just need to stare him down, this high human.
why do you need to stand up? You're
He was
ready to
around. He
go
might
through
be
a
part
trial
of the
if he is worthy.
might be part of the
genuinely.
trash cleanup thing that's happening today. I'd say maybe give it like an hour and a half. I don't
Yes,
know how long
but
it's gonna
he has to pass my
but
test as
he
well.
should be around.
What do you mean he has to pass your test?
I need to know if he's not an idiot.
Well, yeah.
Plenty of time, so I'll probably wander around and come back here later.
Sure thing.
Because
And thanks again for the needless
do you
shot.
want an idiot raising your children?
Yeah, no problem. Just try not to stand.
I most certainly not.
Unless it's self-defense, of course.
Oh yeah, no, obviously I'm
As
not
far
exactly
as I know, he's not.
I'm not a violent person. I'm
but
not that
he is
great
an
in
adorable
combat
idiot
anyway.
when he is being an idiot.
That's for me to judge, not you.
Figure it out.
What do you
But no, take it easy, Samuel.
It's part of the test.
So he has to go through another test now, but it has to be your
I
test.
will say it is really
Precisely,
weird
and you
how
can't
much
tell him
people
that I'm
from
going to
his
test
world
him.
have sort of influenced people from my world. I'll
And I
explain
need a
that
dark
at some
room
point.
with one light,
Alright.
like an interrogation room.
Like this symbol on my shirt is actually a
Is that
symbol from
possible to do
his
at the bar?
world.
With him alone.
Oh,
None other
okay.
family members,
But
just
it's-
me, him, and you.
For me, it means something else. It's a refugee network that for people from my world.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Again, I'll explain things
suppose that's fine.
momentarily, hopefully.
Well, yeah.
I am curious to learn more about you and your whole ordeal.
Yeah, it's a lot, honestly.
Sorry.
I almost have
Hey,
to
I have
bring one of
time.
my fellow Death Knights.
Oh my gosh, no.
Well, I don't really know where to start.
It actually might be quite fun.
I guess I was made aware of of my curse when I was about maybe 14,
Is he a tough guy?
I think.
15 years old.
14, 15, yeah.
Very tough guy.
Does he like to fight a
We were
boss?
in the car and it crashed and I couldn't remember what happened. But I woke up in a castle and according to what I was told, this castle was mine because apparently I was the sole heir of it, and a lot of the people, like the servants in there, were insisting that I stayed, and they kept telling me that my parents were dead, and, you know, I can't remember anything that happened, right? I'm just getting, like, flashes of memory.
Ah, jeez, how do I even...
Turns out my dad was in a cult. Gotta love that. This cult lived in this castle. The cult died off.
What?
And
Evidently not if they're still in the castle.
well, apparently my
I've had that name
dad
crossed my
planned
lips
this
once or
trip
twice,
in
but
Romania, because that's where we were, to try to stop the remaining members that were there.
Take Tyler's strength.
Um,
I don't know if you know how strong
And
And he brought you along?
he is able to go.
my mom insisted that we would come because she didn't know what was going on, and he kept saying no, and I think there was some
Remember back
threatening of possible divorce.
on the airship, there was like 2 kitty cats.
Oh.
always in
Yeah, my mom wasn't really a good person, but I found out that apparently one of the members ran in front of the car to intentionally crash it. That was fun to learn. But
No, but I meant in terms of like strength. and
When-
power, would he be similar to them or stronger?
Okay.
Right.
That time I felt you, Jesus. Stars. Am I good to
Is this
go?
the person you're waiting for? Yeah, you're good to go.
Yeah.
I think
Hi.
I just
This
scared
is Mia.
someone off.
hello.
They started
Hi,
to step into the
hi, I'm
bar,
Elric.
and I made
Nice to meet you.
direct eye contact with them, and they
He's
just went like
guy.
this.
Give him a chance.
Turned around, left.
I'm sorry.
What is it?
What?
No, I don't even know.
I'm confused.
He's being an idiot, don't mind him.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh yeah, no, I think I'm good to go now.
Okay.
So you have my undivided attention.
Okay. If you want to jump on in a booth, maybe.
Well, you do have that
Yeah.
death stare, you know?
I guess this booth right here.
Get it?
Okay. So, where I left off. I found out while I was in this castle that I had this curse when one of the servants tried to kill me and succeeded, unfortunately.
Oh, you were killed.
And I woke up in the room that I was staying in, as if nothing happened. I had no memory. I didn't know why I was there. I freaked out. I had to relearn everything. Yeah, I had to relearn everything. I had to relearn about the car accident. I had to relearn about the people in the castle. Yada yada yada. More along the lines. Eventually, I did manage to. I didn't. How do I put it? Deal with the problem, I guess, but not in the way that you're probably thinking.
Well, I'm assuming it's not in the realm of, I don't know, getting rid of the castle or like.
I didn't go up and kill them or anything like that. I'm not capable of that.
I didn't expect you to.
Yeah. But eventually, you know, they all dispersed. I'll use that term, dispersed. And I found out that apparently if I figured out that if I write down everything that happened, then I would, you know, I could just go through it again if I were to die again. I was learning kind of quickly that that's what was going on. But after that happened...
Death is not really a permanent thing for you, is it?
It's part of my curse, unfortunately. I respawn, quote unquote.
Fair enough.
And after I dealt with that problem and I was starting to feel fine, I suddenly woke up somewhere else, and that has been the continuing thread. I would wake up in a random spot.
Somewhere that's probably not, like, I guess your original
Not safe.
world. Not safe, yeah. Cultist in a castle, zombie apocalypse.
A couple zombie apocalypses, yeah. Purgatory, that was a fun one.
Purgatory.
Battle royale of some kind where we were all forced to like be like little, you know, survivors while hunters were chasing us.
Oh. Hey, Koiga.
Yeah, no, that one was really weird. I remember they stitched buttons in our eyes, but I could still see. It was really weird.
Oh. Hey.
It was an experience in of itself, and even weirder, like in the middle of it, I vaguely remember one of the survivors. What was his name? I don't remember. I remember one of the survivors waking me up going like, hey, today's a fun day. You know, today we're going to have a party and celebrate. And I was just like, okay, cool. We're not being hunted. The hunters were there. And apparently this was like a day where we all were supposed to get along with each other. And I couldn't. I think I sat in the corner most of the time.
Yeah, no, understandably so. The person who's trying to kill you suddenly being friendly for a day.
Yeah, I was sitting in the corner just like, I don't want anything to do with any of you people right now.
Understandably so. Stars.
Why do you have to call it that?
And I know one of the hunters who used to be a survivor with us was trying to talk to me the entire time. I was saying like, but I'm your friend and blah blah blah, and I'm just like, I don't know what happened to you, but you're not my friend anymore. You changed. Now you want to kill us. I don't.
Yeah, no, that sounds horrifying. Especially
Yeah.
if they're trying to be friends with you at one point. Party day? I don't know, the way that one survivor sort of talked about it, it's like he was used to it, I guess. I don't know.
They had been there longer than I had been there, so
Hmm.
I mean, a part of me thinks that they're still surviving because I woke up somewhere else after I won a game.
Oh, you won.
And then after
How'd
that, I was mostly playing distraction. I'm a good runner. I run pretty well. I can't really fight, but I do. Eh. But I was a good distraction, and I would lure the hunters away from the group when they were trying to actively escape. Because there was an area that we had to leave in order to win the game.
Oh, fair enough.
And there was a time where we did win.
Just an air-bound zone for the hunters.
Yeah. There was a time where we did win, and then after that, I woke up somewhere else. I no longer had buttons in my eyes. I was perfectly fine.
Yeah, the buttons in your eyes thing is disturbing. You were able to see through them?
Yeah. It was really weird, and I looked different, too. That was the other weird part. My hair was made out of yarn. It was like I was a doll. It was weird. I could still feel. But it was just...
Well, stars, I can't say my side of things is exciting. But, I'm not really sure what to say about that.
I
Being some
still
sort of,
don't know what to say about it, in all honesty. The only reason I remember this is because I actually had time to stop and, like, look, I've been carrying a journal with me. That way I'll keep track of what I've been doing. And I actually had the time to actually stop and read through it. So that's the only reason why I can remember. There's still some things I don't remember.
And so you being here, I guess, is just like another piece of that curse or something? Or are you natively from here?
I'm not from here, no. No, in my world, it's not the future. In my world, it's like 400 years in the past.
I'm probably gonna check upstairs if he's.
Oh, like the 21st century.
Yeah.
What, I guess it's still the 21st. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I'm trying.
You're trying. It's fine.
I was just up there a little bit ago. I didn't think he might be a bit busy right now.
Well, yeah, no. That's terrifying, but actually kind of interesting, all things considered.
But it's been like a culture shock. I've been experiencing culture shocks anyway, because that one place I told you about where we were forced to play the game, that was like Victorian era, essentially. Like, that was me going back in time. Like, there was technology that wasn't even introduced yet. When I tried to explain to them what a cell phone was, everyone kept giving me weird looks.
I mean, people had to explain what cell phones to me were. Being in a city like this, especially with how big it is, it's a culture shock to me. Or at least it was for the first couple of months.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I think he's kind of busy right now.
I didn't live on Earth. I lived in a different world. Everyone just kind of calls it the old world nowadays, instead of like by its original name.
If I see him, I'll let him know.
I didn't really have any tech. I'm not even really sure what kind of tech I could say, but we had robots. My village was more techless and stuff in nature. We didn't really care about technology.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. I'm curious. You mentioned the purgatory. What was that like?
I think that's what it was. That's what it felt like. I kept seeing things that I was guilty of, or that I thought I was guilty of. Like, I thought, because for the longest time, I blamed myself for my parents' death, so I kept seeing, like, visions of that while I was in this place, and some other things that happened to me that, there were some things I couldn't even remember doing that I was seeing.
Understandable.
And I was being chased by creatures the entire time.
Yeah, I asked that because I have a friend who often calls, like, the metaverse, or multiverse in this case. It's not here, but he calls the multiverse purgatory. I've always wondered what that sort of meant. Well, yeah, I guess my thing. But yeah, I didn't grow up on an Earth. I grew up on a different world. when I was 5 years old, we lost our son. It was in the sky one day, and after a few minutes, it was gone, faded out. I know that's not how suns are supposed to go out. They're supposed to explode, supernova, whatever you call it.
Mhm.
But ours just disappeared. And while it's not in a way as scary as being in a battle royale, being a completely different person but still the same, or being in a car accident even. There's just something about growing up at the end of the world, listening to the adults around you. They try to hide it, but they know it's coming, and everyone else, as much as we try to hide it, we know it's coming too. I've never really mentioned this before, but my mother, she couldn't really handle what was going on around us, how dark it was, how the phosphor trees were growing gradually dim over the years. She took her life.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, no, no, it's fine. I'm sort of getting a little too heavy with it. I'm trying to, I guess, compare notes. My father, bless that ale, he actually kept both me and my sister busy with a bunch of different things, kept us distracted from thinking about things often.
Mhm.
He taught me how to fish, and we survived mainly off of what we caught. Bird people like me, we really didn't have a concept on currency. Everything we did was mainly bartering. But after 15 years of having no son, when I turned 20, our world did eventually die. And while there aren't a lot of people left from that world, quite a few of us did actually end up surviving. And like I mentioned, this is a symbol for a refugee network that I'm from.
Mhm.
That refugee network was made by someone not from our world, who had a great interest in it due to his little brother. His little brother was originally from our world. Obviously they're not related by blood. His little brother doesn't even have blood. He's I'd say robot, but I think that's derogatory here. I'm not entirely sure.
Synthetics,
Artificial
I think,
in-
more the usual term for people of that nature. I think synthetics is usually the term that most people use.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, he was a synthetic of some sort. Because of his fascination with my world, he actually went out of his way to help a lot of people from my world, including me. He actually saved my life where I was, because I wasn't in a great spot when I first ended up in the multiverse.
Mhm.
When you're the only civilian around soldiers and warriors from different eras of Earth, you have conquerors, warlords, murderers, people who would do the most heinous of things and not really think about it, and even threaten you at times. It's why I was really curious about what you meant by your life being like a horror game, because it felt like, for most of my life, it was also sort of I guess in this case, a horror book.
Mhm.
I'm still not honestly sure how I survived. I don't even think I did survive. It's just... it's something, I guess. I'm still here. A lot of people from my world aren't here anymore, but there have been people who have helped me, people from his world specifically, oddly enough.
Ah,
But yeah, thought I had more to say about it, but I pretty much just...
You
like
want
I
to know
said,
something kind of funny?
My story ain't that interesting. Oh, what's up?
I was in a place with no sun.
Oh?
Apparently, it was a version of Earth where the sun just vanished one day.
My day's going good so far.
Now supernova just gone?
It just... people woke up and the sun never rose. And unfortunately, it brought out bad things that people weren't supposed to see.
Bad things like what?
Creatures that only come out at night. Since the sun is gone, they come out.
It was sort of their hunting grounds, I guess. I'm assuming not exactly the greatest of creatures.
That and people were also going insane without the sun as well. So there were a lot of dangerous individuals running around that unfortunately needed mental help, but they couldn't get it at the time because people were, again, in hiding, freaking out.
I wish there were bigger seats in there.
Oh, I know that one all too well. I almost kind of fell victim to that myself, but my father somehow kept my spirits up. Same with my
Do
sister.
anything? Or are you good? Just chilling.
And, oh, jeez, don't even get me started on the whole, And there was, like, a point where I was there. I was, with a couple people. We were our own little, like, survivor group. But there was a point where they saw my cell phone and they destroyed it. And at this, I never really pulled it out because I didn't really see a point to having it. Because there was, a lot of, like, the cell phone towers and everything like that, no one was operating them, so I wasn't getting reception anywhere. And I asked them, why did you do that? And they said that one of the creatures in this world uses technology to get to you. And once they get you, then they're going to slip in and pretend to be you, and then they're going to kill us. I didn't know what they meant at the time, but while I've been with them, I realized that they were using a lot of older technology. Because we had a generator running in our base, so we had our, turns to go get gas when we could to keep filling it. So, but they were using like old time radios that had no stations whatsoever, but just give us something to listen to, even if it was just buzz. Old analog televisions with VCRs.
Don't know what that is, admittedly.
They play something called a cassette tape. Kind of like like film.
So it's like, I think I've seen a cassette tape before. So it's like a cassette tape except for videos. Huh.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. Video cassette recorder? VCR?
Yeah, video cassette recorder. Yeah, because that's what people use them for as well, to record things.
That makes sense.
But yeah, imagine, going out to go get gasoline with your designated buddy and seeing something that looks just like you. It's a little fucking weird.
Yeah, no, that's...
And them telling you that, and them trying to gaslight you into believing that you're the fake one and that you should die because they're the real one. That got a little weird as well.
Yeah, no, I'd be horrified by that, admittedly. I think, aren't they,
I don't think they liked my response, because I remember specifically telling them, if I die, I just come back. I don't know what to tell you, buddy. I don't think they like that.
I'm betting that make them attack you, right?
They did. They did.
That makes sense.
I got yelled at for it later, but you know what?
No. I mean, having the ability to respawn, even if you don't remember what it was like getting hurt, do you, before you die?
No, I just
Do you
remember how I did.
How you died? Well, I mean, as weird as it is, I guess the one benefit is that nothing can really kill you, permanently at least.
On one hand, that's good, but on the other hand, it does kind of suck.
It's a weird form of immortality, so I get it.
Yeah. Forever cursed to be the final girl in every horror scenario.
Yeah, it's not fun. Do you still get sort of like dragged away into a different world while you're out here?
I mean, I haven't yet, thankfully. But maybe it's because there's something here I gotta do first before I get yoinked. And I don't know what that is.
I'm still trying to find it.
Right now, I'm trying to figure out where the fuck my castle is. I still haven't found it yet. I don't know if I'll be able to. I mean, if it's still... I was told that it could still exist even 400 years later, so I'm hoping that it's probably still there. I just don't know how to get there.
I mean, you said it was in Romania, and I'm assuming that's a place on Earth, right?
Yeah, Romania, it's a country.
Ah, okay. I don't know where we are specifically in Zephyra. I think we're in the United States, but I'm not entirely sure on that.
I was told to get
I'd
a hold of
say-
somebody that could, like, deal with portals or something like that. I've already got a couple names, so...
Oh yeah, no, there's a huge portal network, and recently where I live, someone was able to install like this weird crystal where you can actually just teleport back home with if you have it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, what I would suggest is like heading out to Romania, and I've heard this is like a version of Earth that's like 4 times bigger than what it's supposed to be.
Oh.
So chances are you got a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But, hey, at least you'll most likely be able to find it if it is just a castle in a whole country. No,
I
it's
hope
not
so.
Exactly.
I have pets. I have
Are
animals.
people still
Well,
in the castle?
Deli is, but he was trying to hurt me for a while, but then after I kind of bested him in like a fight, I think he backed down a little bit because he stopped going after me and he just started like carrying on with his duties, like cleaning and stuff. So I'm hoping that he took care of my pets while I was gone, or while I've been gone.
Why was he trying to attack you?
Because I was a member of... well, it's gonna sound a little weird. So, in this cult, they believed that my dad, since he was the son of the leader, he was like the holy messiah of this cult, right? And my grandfather didn't see it that way. If anything, he saw him more as like someone who was going to steal the role of leader from him, which obviously my dad did not want to do. My dad wanted nothing to do with the cult anymore, and they saw me as a threat as well after I survived. I think in a way Deli did want to protect me in a way. But I think, you know, my grandfather's grip on him kind of got a little too overwhelming. Yeah. Otherwise,
Yeah, no,
why
I
else
get
would I
that.
have woken up in that castle, like, you know, fine?
Yeah, that's fair. It is. I'd say odd predicament, but that'd be putting it lightly. Huh. Have you ever thought of... I guess that would be a bit hard considering how your whole curse works, but have you ever thought of maybe going there, grabbing your pets, of course, but maybe not going back to the castle permanently? Maybe going away from it?
I thought about it, but as of right now, that's really the only home I got. Well, I have a cabin too, apparently, but I don't think I want to go back to that forest after reading that journal entry.
A cabin in the forest. That sounds like it'd be a setup for like a horror story.
Yeah,
no, I can understand that.
I read in the journal entry that apparently the cabin belonged to a researcher, and... Do you know what Slender Man is?
Something like a scientist. No, I'm not familiar with that.
Tall, skinny, faceless entity. That was his forest.
Oh.
I brought it up, and apparently
I'm assuming-
apparently a lot of people know who he is here, so that's why I asked you if you knew.
I mean, if people know here, I kind of don't. I'm still mainly learning things about, I don't know, Earth culture and stuff here.
That's fair.
Admittedly,
That's
a lot
fair.
of it's through music and stuff, but yeah. I guess I'd have to read up on Slender Man if he's public knowledge. I don't know.
Yeah, I had to deal with that. That was fun. Having to deal with people that he was using as puppets and stuff.
Using his puppets.
Yeah, he had people called proxies. They were essentially his henchmen, in a way. I think in a way he wanted me to be one too, but...
Well, okay, in your words, what is Slender Man supposed to be? I guess it's weird to, like, ask
Yes.
about it, and it's something that you have personal experience with, but...
Even I don't fucking know. I don't know what the fuck he is. I know he's not human, and I know he's some supernatural entity. But what he is specifically,
apparently he's
no
slender.
idea. Yeah, he's slender. But that's what the notes in the cabin said, so that's why I called him. The proxies called him, like,
notes in the
overseer and
cabin.
stuff, so...
Huh. That's odd. Well, yeah, no, That's... Do you have any pictures of your castle? I'm curious. I know...
Not on me, unfortunately. I do have a camera, but I left it where I'm staying at right now. I'm kind of staying in a hotel room right now, so...
Oh, fair enough.
As good as I am, yours.
Because
yeah,
surprisingly,
no,
waking up in the mega building, no one robbed me. Surprisingly.
Yeah, admittedly that is surprising, but considering how it was, how I saw it last week, there's a lot more to it than how it was before. When it first opened, it was around the time when I first came here, like a few months back. It was dark, it was damp. I got chased out of it once with Robin. We don't even know who was chasing us. It was too dark to really figure out who, but when we saw someone and they were approaching, we ran. Usually everyone around here told me to stay away from the mega building, even though there's like a music shop. There is the brothel, but I'm not interested in that. There's now an arcade, even though the machines there don't exactly work. Aside from the Dance Dance Revolution
I
one.
can see what you were thinking.
But yeah, no, the mega building, it's a bit more brightened now. There's a lot more. There's a bit stick people that seem like they were kind of set there to, like, I don't know, give it general ambience. It's,
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
I can sort of understand why it's there, but I don't know. I don't understand whoever might actually own the building. If anyone does own the building, I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, no, when I woke up, I was surrounded by good people that talked to me, so, and helped me.
Oh, that's good.
Mm.
That- I sort of just stumbled my way in here one day, and first place I went to was the bar. Pretty sure I heard, like, for the first couple days here, just random gunshots here and there. Most of it was from the same person. I don't think he was actually really shooting at anyone, more so just wasting ammo.
And that's the one thing you shouldn't do. Because you never know when you're going to find
Yeah,
more.
no kidding. Well, all things considered, the pawn shop actually does have quite a wide selection of ammunition from what I remember. I know they have weapons from that other world where I have friends from. I have 2 such weapons on me from there. One I have on me now, I'm not going to pull it out, don't worry. But it's like a giant magnum sidearm sort of thing. It was a pretty big bullet, one that actually sprained my hand once.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I should have probably gone with something a bit more smaller in caliber, but I didn't think I'd be using it. The place where I live once got attacked by a machine organization called LF, and...
Oh, I heard a little bit about
Well,
that.
it was-
Yeah.
Yeah, aside from when I first got into the multiverse, that was probably the most terrified I've ever been in my life. And I had actually gotten shot during that. I got really lucky because there was someone nearby who actually healed me up pretty quickly with holy magic or something.
Mm.
But I took full auto fire straight to the back without even realizing it. I was just trying to hide.
You two the only two that
Everything
work
was
the
a lot bigger than me, a lot more scary.
restaurant? I only ever see you two
I'm just a
on
bird with hollow bones who, if you take a bat to him even, you could probably kill him.
Like Sydney works on occasion type of thing. Robin and Matt cover it.
But yeah, it's the one thing that I'll relate to when it sort of feels like
Most constant.
you lived at least like a horror story or something. At least my childhood, not exactly sort of like jump scary horror or thrillers or like, you know, psychos going around doing things, killing people, but it was more of like existential dread.
Yeah.
Mainly, dealing with the reality that at one point, at any point, it could be lights out.
Mhm.
I've heard people before, one of the biggest questions that they used to ask was, which would be better? The world just ending instantly, or the world just gradually falling into decay? Evidently, our world fell into decay. It took a full 15 years for everything to
It's more just how much they can
fade into the void.
brush against them.
That's what I've been told will happen. But,
But the wings?
it's not fun wondering if you're gonna ever really make it through your childhood or actually live a life before things end. But I guess with me being still alive and knowing that a lot of people in my world are still alive, I'm sort of holding out hope that I can find my family. My dad and my sister specifically. I don't think my mom survived what she did to herself, but my dad and my sister, at the end of the world, we had all like took a boat nearby in a lake and we just went fishing. We fished for a solid 3 hours, and even though we knew what was going to happen, we had fun. And we all, as weird as it sounds, we faced the end of the world with a smile on our face. And I think I caught maybe like 3 or 4 fish there. It's been a while, I can't remember. But one moment I'm with my sister and my dad in a boat. The next moment everything goes dark. I don't feel, see, or think anything for like a tiny bit. And then the next moment, I'm washing up on a shore. I got water in my lungs, and I'm absolutely confused as to why I'm completely wet. Where's my family, and why is the sun back? You know?
Yeah.
And growing up without the sun, let me tell you, looking up at the sun directly hurts, but
Oh,
being in
yeah,
broad
definitely.
daylight just kind of hurts for the eyes.
Yeah.
I have to wear shades whenever I go out. I look a little silly with both the shades and the goggles on because, you know, these are actual eyes up here.
I figured.
Yeah, photophobia is not fun. But yeah,
No, they cannot.
it's
fun.
it's nice knowing someone sort of has been in a similar situation, has been or is in a similar situation, as unfortunate as things are for you. But you know, that old adage, misery loves company, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's why I was interested in hearing your story. I don't think I've ever actually admitted to anyone anything about my mom before. I never really wanted to bring down the mood with them, but this is the first time I've actually ever talked about it. Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm also like stumbling my way through this conversation.
No,
right now.
you're
What am I
okay. You're
talking about
fine.
now?
You're fine. You're okay.
Sorry, I've never really met anyone online before. Most of the people that I've paired with on MetaMeet have been people that I've already known, like Armsy, Oya, who else? It's other people.
Basically, people who are using the app as an excuse to hang out with you, essentially.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, I kind of got roped into getting MetaMeet by a friend, Felix. He made the account for me, and sort of snatched a bunch of photos. I should probably update the account so it's a bit more accurate with a couple things, but yeah, I was kind of genuinely surprised when you had, I don't know what the right term with it is, but I guess I was surprised when we matched.
I'd say
Mhm. Yeah, I didn't want to go through all the accounts, so I just went through the more recent ones. So,
activity.
No, that's
well,
fair. That's a lot of
recent,
scrolling. I don't even want to
sort
do
of
that.
recent. Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of scary looking
Yeah.
people. Not gonna lie.
It's like a hike, you know, kind of the balance between like.
What I've found since I've been out in the multiverse, there are a lot of scary people, yes, but in like, do you know Cupcake?
Yeah, cupcake.
Yeah.
mm.
Cupcake looks horrifying. There's at least
He
three separate
was the
human
first
faces
thing
in
I
his
saw
body.
when I woke up.
Yeah, I understand that now. It was hard for me to approach him as well, but he's a great example of what I'm talking about because he's horrifying. He's got sharp teeth. He's got several faces. He looks like a blob of flesh that was given arms, legs, and I guess a conscience. But he's one of the nicest people that you could meet out here, and he actually sold me a couple of things before and has told me about certain things, Miss Roy Armor related. It's nothing from my world, obviously. There was one person who was in here earlier. His name is Orion. He's I can't remember what he was, like a guardian, a titan, I'm not sure. But he's a soldier. He has big guns. He's a really tall individual. He actually helped me get scout flies. He knew what I was looking for because he knew about my world as well. I was looking for something like glow flies from like the Glen or like any form of phosphor from my world. Naturally, the Vicarium didn't have any, but he went out of his way to not only show me a new place that existed, but to actually get me like a little jar of scout flies that help me track things. And it's nice for me because it's something that reminds me of home when they glow green at least. And it's something practical too. I can, if I give him something that has a scent, track something. I don't know how well I can track something in like, the waterfront district because it's just very smelly here. But
Sure. Here,
they're people who are terrifying, at least outwardly. But when you actually stop and get to know them, they're pretty nice people. They're willing to help you out. Sometimes they'll even pay for your drinks when you're here. You know, just paying it forward. I know the moment that I got a job here, I went around paying everyone back for their kindness, but yeah, no, as scary as some people look, and as scary as some people seem, they are nice people. At least most of them.
Yeah,
That's the whole point.
Yeah, Cupcake apologized for scaring me when I first woke up here. I did feel a little bad for screaming.
No, it's perfectly understandable. Don't worry. It took me a while to like. Look
But
at-
I've been chased by things that look similar to him, so.
No, well, yeah, like I said, it's especially understandable now in your case because you've seen things like him before. I've never seen anything like him before, so it was, like I said before, it's a bit of a culture shock. I'm not used to cities, I'm not used to hanging out in bars like this. I grew up in a village that didn't even have, like, aside from natural lighting, we didn't have light bulbs or anything. So, everything that I've dealt with, from living in spaceships, living in cities, living out here, it's all, well, not exactly new anymore to me. It's still something that I'm not really used to.
Free roam,
Something
yeah.
come out whenever
So most people been doing
It's
it ahead.
it's been
this one,
interesting trying to learn how like technology works, learning a little bit about being an engineer or mechanic because I'm trying to be a little bit more useful since I can't fight. Everyone around me here has some way of fighting. I have a Magnum that doesn't even really do much against robots or synth people. I'm not really sure what LF bots are. Whatever, it's LF. But yeah, no.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem.
It's been an interesting journey so far, even if I haven't really journeyed out that far.
Gotcha.
Take it easy, Koiga. I live in his community.
Ah,
He's a good
okay.
person.
Hmm.
Yeah, no. But yeah, no. Oh,
Oh. Oh, thank you.
thanks, Elric. You say something about meeting someone I met and meet, and everyone immediately assumes it's something romantic.
Oh, I see what this is. This is the Lady in the Tramp bit. I see how it is. You try.
I can get out the noodles.
No, thank you. Jeez.
The milkshake's fine, Elric, thank you. Excuse me. Sorry, I made things awkward.
No, you're fine. You're okay.
But yeah, no, whoops. It's not the end of the conversation, but it is nice to meet you and nice to get to know, I guess, your side of the horror thing. And I guess it's nice to really talk more about my side of the horror thing.
Yeah, of course.
Because, you know, a horror situation
I'm back from the fourth dimension.
is,
Welcome back.
I have chips.
well, it's,
Nice.
I guess it's sort of calmed down a bit for the both of us, at least right now. But it's nice to know someone who's been through something similar, even if what you've been through is a lot more extreme than what I've been
What the
through.
fuck you talking about?
Honestly, all things considered, you handle it pretty well.
The first couple of years, I think, were pretty tough, but I'm 19 now, so I've had plenty of... At this point, I'm just kind of tired of it, I guess. It's kind of gotten to the point where I'm so used to it that I just know what to expect now.
And it's more of an inconvenience than it is.
Yeah,
horror.
just, you know, I wake up in a new place and it's like, oh, son of a bitch, here we go again.
Gotta start all over. figure out
Time
when
to
you
start
live.
again!
He's dead.
Pay these stupid things called taxes. I don't know. Actually, I don't even pay rent.
Right, yeah.
I, so-
Okay, eventually.
I sort of took over a noodle shop where I live, and no one ever told me no. I asked if I could take the building. No one told me no. No one gave me a price, and I just serve noodles for free for people.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's one of the main things that I can do because there's
What the fuck?
not much else I can do to help people.
Mm.
I'm not a fighter. I'm not a mechanic yet. I'm not several other things. I'm just some bartender in a dingy little bar that also has a noodle shop and serves noodles on occasion.
For the record, I'm not much of a fighter either. I can shoot guns, but that's about it.
I'm sort of in the same boat. I can shoot guns, but the guns that I shoot are
Imagine last minute
caliber.
gun training. That's kind of what I went through. There was a city that I ended up in. What was it called? Raccoon City. That's what it was called. But it was being overrun by zombies and mutations and things like that. And I kind of had to learn how to shoot a gun last minute during it.
It's a bit of an interesting. Sorry, that's a bit of an interesting name, Raccoon City. Zombies and mutants, though. What do you mean by that?
I never really got the full story while I was there, but it was because of some... There was like a corpo called Umbrella Corp. I kind of had to deal with them for a while. Because unfortunately, I did die while I was there, and they witnessed it, and they also witnessed me come back. And that was them basically going, we want that. Whatever you have, we want it. So...
Oh, yeah, no. Being in the sightlines of a major organization because of something, I say special, I'm not sure how special it would be considered to you, but, you know, yeah, no, that's not good.
No.
it's
Especially when, like,
remember
the, you know, agents are, like, so pumped up of, like, god drugs or whatever, and they're chasing after you, and not even bullets can do anything to stop them. That also is really scary. Don't even get me started on Wesker. Jesus Christ, I hate that guy. I hope he's dead.
Wesker.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that was after me. Freak of a man.
I'm assuming he was a bit more of a human, or more than human.
He could dodge bullets like nothing. My guns did nothing to him.
Dodge bullets.
They did absolutely nothing for him. At that point, I couldn't even fight him. I just had to run. So every time I knew he was in the area, I would just run and hide. And even then, sometimes that wasn't enough.
Well, actually, I just thought about it. I thought when you died, you ended up in a different world or something. Or is it that you have to finish something there in order to, like, I don't know, move on to the next world?
I think so, yeah. Because sometimes I die and end up in the same place.
Okay. So yeah, that makes sense, especially with the whole Battle Royale story. I'm assuming you won it, but I'm assuming you went through probably a couple of lost,
Yeah.
Battle Royales?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's understandable. Huh. How did you get out of that world, or that city, Raccoon City? What was it that you needed to do there?
I don't even know, actually. I
Oh,
fought, I survived, and then...
You just ended up somewhere else?
Yeah, I do remember I was walking down a road, and I think a car stopped, was like pulling over probably to give me a ride, and then after that I don't remember what happened.
No, that's fair. I have seen weird mutated zombies before. Anytime me and a friend, we leave the city in order to go somewhere, like, you know, maybe eat at a fast food place or something, sometimes there's just like a monster or two, or even 6, that just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, there's this one monster that I sort of remember. It was horrifying. It kind of crawled on the ground, had a long tongue, and even the brain was sort of outside.
No, you just reminded me of a monster that crawled. Oh, I hated it. Ugh. I hate it when monsters crawl so fast near you.
Yeah, no. It's embarrassing to admit this, but I'm afraid of spiders for that reason. Too many eyes, too many legs.
That's fair.
Around.
That's an understandable fear to have.
But yeah, no, there was, I guess, like, one normal zombie that was, like, sort of at the drive-thru at the restaurant. There was that weird crawling thing with its brain sort of out of its head. It looked like it didn't really have a skull. We stopped at a gas station to get gas. We thought we would find anyone in there, but the only one really tending the whole building was this, like, weird zombie that didn't really get affected by bullets.
Huh.
This happened like a couple months ago. We ended up driving into a different city on accident, and we got fuel from someone, but they essentially said, get the fuel and get out of the city while you can. Oddly enough, that was the first time I've ever actually seen anything that looked like me there. Not like one-to-one me, but like someone of my species.
Right, yeah.
Actually, let me see. I have the picture real quick on my tablet. I forgot what his name was, but it was something weird. And I know it was a person of my species because of, like, the beak, the 4 eyes, even though, like, the bottom set of eyes were cat eyes for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, no, I think that's all the stories that I really have, admittedly. I haven't experienced as much. Most of my time, admittedly, has been trying to follow dead leads, looking for my sisters and my father. There are a lot of bird people around here, but none of them are like me, you know? There was Jason who was in here earlier, but he no longer has feathers. He's mainly just scales now. He's more dragon than he is bird. I've seen a couple other people around that were sort of similar, but their legs were shaped differently. No one ever really had feathers on their arms like I did. No one ever wore like the tunics that I did, and I would be wearing my tunic, but there's still a couple holes in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Hi.
Well, yeah.
Can I
Now,
get a knife?
I haven't met anyone
get
like me, since I've been out here.
The butter pecan.
I'm sure you'll find your family.
Yeah, I hope.
Moonshine.
Oh,
Sure thing.
I'm sorry about yours. I know it's
He
probably not
slipped,
much,
and
but
he slipped.
He's
I can only
not
hope that I'll
exactly-
see them again one day. Once this curse has had its fill of my suffering, I
Wait,
guess.
Yeah, no,
Here's my
I
credit
get
check.
that.
Here's my credit check.
But yeah, losing your family,
Scan that shit. Scan that shit.
losing your family at 15 is not exactly fun.
No.
I speak as someone who lost his mother as a teenager, so
I'm
I know.
dying. But don't
know
worry about it. I'm sure the
what it's
moonshine
like
will help
a little
burn
bit.
whatever the fuck is living in my throat. No, it won't.
But
In a way, I made my own family.
Did we get fuel?
That I hope are being fed and taken care of while I'm gone.
yeah, I guess I can say the same thing. But what's odd about it is that a lot of the people that I consider family are not from my world. They're from the world with like the UNSC, the Covenant, and all that stuff.
Mm.
One guy is something called Hell Jumper, a Lance Corporal from what was it that he said again? 7th Shock Troop Battalion, 105th Shock Troop Division, I believe. With Hell Jumpers, ODSTs, they are a mixture of slightly insane and suicidal tendencies. The man sort of runs into a fight without thinking about it, much to his little brother's detriment.
Mm.
His little brother, he's from my world, but he was created within a human city. He lives inside of his bigger brother's head, actually, most of the time. Something with, it's a spine implant that he got.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, believe it or not, but there were movies back in my world about things similar to that.
Yeah, no, fair. I'm pretty sure my friend said something about playing a game from his world as well. You know, we're just gonna get that out loud. Funnily enough, oddly enough, there's been 2 instances of someone playing a game about my world. Orion, the Guardian that I mentioned, he kept mentioning a lot of things about my world that was suspicious. So I confronted him about it, and he mentioned playing a game. And I guess my friend with his little robot brother, he technically played the game, but the game was his little brother. His little brother's name is the World Machine. And I guess he lives up to his name. He's a world machine.
That's strange.
It's a little strange. But at the same time, robots with names from my world, they're not exactly like normal names, like Sesame or Mia.
What do you wonder?
Usually it's like an alloy or some sort of nickname or something like that. Like, we have this giant nightly robot, red hair. Her name is Silver. And she often is like head of security for the most part within like the flotilla. Well, I say flotilla, there's actually a planet that they have landed on now. There's obviously the World Machine. I guess in a sense there's also Rue. Rue is, for some reason, a little robot fox. I don't know why a fox specifically, but I guess she was a fox before she...
Very from Street today.
I don't know full details about everything. I just mainly know my 2 friends, the ODST and the World Machine. Never really learned much about their world, and I tried asking him, I tried asking him, and I tried asking former UNSC personnel. They all looked at me with this sort of like haunted expression in their eyes. All I mainly know about their world is that they were in a huge war on survival. And the opposite side, the Covenant, they were, because of religious reasons, trying to exterminate the entire human race. Like their existence was an affront to their gods or something. I don't know really too much about it outside of the weapons. I got pretty familiar with missile armory weapons, but asking about stories of the war, aside from what Samuel has told me, it's I'm just talking about your world a tiny bit. Don't mind me.
Okay.
Aside from what he had told me, I don't really know too much aside from that it was a rather gruesome, rather bloody, rather ludicrous war, for lack of a better term.
It was a pointless war.
What he said.
Also, I'm hearing that over there. Sounds like I need to get spaghetti for you two. You want to pull a lady and tramp on me? I'm going to pull a lady and tramp on you.
Light on up.
But yeah, no, I guess the people that I know and the people that I'm closest to, they all have, I guess, as weird and probably morbidly inappropriate of me to say, they have their own horror stories, you know? Whether it be fighting in a war, or a curse where you can't die from like a cult with a castle, in your case. I'm putting it lightly, but my case, growing up at the end of the world, you know, and people who sort of share that kind of horror story trait, I guess. People I like the most. Considering the trend of friends that I make.
Yeah. It's nice actually talking about it because, like I said, when you're in situations like that, you don't really get a chance to sit and talk.
Yeah, exactly. And it's...
And then when you do, they don't want to talk about
nice.
it.
Now, no one usually wants to talk about it, and I guess the reason why the soldiers that I know, they didn't talk about their war, probably because I hadn't been through the same sort of thing. But
They're mostly cheese, I'll tell you
I know
that.
what it's like losing a world,
That's
and
kinda like the same one.
although I only had one world to lose, they lost several from what I understand. It's... I don't know.
Don't forget the
I
moon.
don't mind. I know you don't mind.
Don't forget the what? Sorry?
The moons. The planets and the moon.
Oh, the moons. Right.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
put colonies on them as well.
Yeah, I forgot that you could probably colonize moons. See, I never actually got off of my rock. I sort of stayed there.
Yeah, that's
We didn't
fair.
have technology to leave a rock. Mainly industrial, low amount of computer tech. Not as much as like, I don't know, Zafira is. It's actually kind of insane. Though we did have robots, and there were ways for them to gain sentience. Something, it's gonna sound weird. People give me funny looks for it being called this, but I swear it's what it's called. Timing them. Essentially, timing. I don't know what all goes through it, but timing is a sort of way to have to develop a robot without programming them or something, to maybe think outside their programming, start seeing themselves as a real person, someone whose feelings may be, should be considered valid. And the World Machine, despite his name being the world machine. He hasn't really found a name for himself yet. He's a real kid. He's a good kid. Sometimes a little emotionally mute. His older brother calls him a crybaby a lot. But he's nice. And the ODST, he's stupid. He says a lot of stupid jokes. And he runs into fights quite often. Like, I remember, even though he was one of the founders of the OWR, the Old World Refuge, as he called it, he ended up joining a mercenary group for a year with his little brother. He mainly said he was doing it to accrue funds in order to, like, help keep the flotilla safe. We were only 2 ships, but I'm pretty sure he just did it for, like, the thrill of the fight.
Probably.
No, he didn't just do it for the thrill of the fight. He actually genuinely cares about people like me. But I don't know.
Still gives him that rush, though.
Yeah. He always used to say, pain is a reminder that you're still alive. Which I can sort of understand in a weird way, the philosophy behind it. So yeah. My life's been a little interesting. Maybe not as interesting as yours has been in times. And
I think anything outside of my life is interesting.
Well, yeah, no. It's been really enlightening talking about things, and it's nice to talk about the things that I've dealt with before.
Yeah, same here.
Because I often don't like bringing it up with other people that much because I don't want to kill the mood. Usually a lot of people around me aren't in the greatest of moods anyways because they have like this, that, and the other.
Yeah, I've learned that apparently a lot does happen here. That I have learned that. That's how I heard about the LF situation.
Yeah, a lot happens, and I don't even realize it until someone's screaming about it, like, I don't know, a day or 2 after. The only reason I know about the Riot ordeal with the ball coaches and stuff like that is because, well, Metagram.
Yeah, no, that's how I found out about it, too. And the moment I heard ball, I wanted to cry. I was like, not again!
Oh, you have...
I dealt with a situation where, there was an individual that I had to deal with in one of these worlds that idolized Ball as a being of great power. So...
Oh.
It was only one person, though. It wasn't actually a cult. In this world, he was like a god of murder, I think. I don't know if that's the same thing here, but...
Well, I'm not...
Yeah, we are.
In another world, I had to deal with an individual who idolized Ball, so I wasn't sure if it was the same one or not.
Probably similar, yeah.
They spelled it the same way. That was the other scary part. I was just like, oh, that's not good.
Well, admittedly, I find that in some instances, there's a lot of overlap between the different multiverses. For example, Earth. That's the biggest one.
Yeah.
There's several places where the human homeworld is Earth. I guess technology at times, religion. I don't know what the religion is, and sometimes I say the name, but the whole thing with Jesus. If you know about that?
I do, but I was told a thing a while ago, and now it's starting to make me wonder, and I feel like my brain's about to explode.
Should I drop the subject?
No, I was told that gods are real here, and that just makes me wonder if Jesus is real. See, you gotta realize, where I am from 400 years in the past, we had no idea. No, like, we weren't exposed to all of this. So my brain's just kind of going like,
No, I get it, because, like, I don't know, you might be, like, I don't know, religious in some way, but you don't exactly hold the text to your heart in the same way as, like, I don't know.
I mean...
But, like, just one day, you just suddenly, you learn they are real. You might even meet a god, and then you're just like, oh no, should I rethink my whole world? Should I just start actually praying more, or do
No,
specific things? Or
because I'm gonna let you know right now, out of all the times that I have prayed asking why the fuck this shit was happening to me and not getting anything, I'm not changing my ways. If anything, if I ever were to see God face to face, I'd be like, just straight up, just flip him off, like, the fuck. The fuck.
No, I get that. Now, meeting a god would be really, really weird.
I met things and people that claim to be gods, but they still died in the end. So that says a lot.
The old god, my old friend, the ODST, always had this weird, stupid joke of his because of his whole situation with his little brother. Every time someone brought up something about religion or deities or whatever, he would just, out of nowhere, just suddenly say, I was a god once. It was weird.
Jesus.
And he always got the weirdest looks from people. But from what I understand, why he said it a lot was because when dealing with his little brother as a program on his computer, the world acknowledged his existence. And he was their god. And anytime he sort of visited the world and stuff, he's always referred to as a god. And
Nobody's just there, but you know.
no, I don't know if he's a narcissist or not. I can't really tell with him. But he always makes that joke about having been a god at one point, so... Of course, he's just a regular human. He's not like an actual god like I guess some people here would be. I think I actually met a god before. It was moments prior to the LF attack in where I live. But they changed someone into a ukulele, I think. It sounds weird, but I promise you that's what happened. It was a smaller little dude floating in the air. I guess someone insulted him. He turned around, pointed at him. Guy turned into like an instrument, and then the god started playing him, and then turned him back, and that guy was disturbed.
I can imagine.
Yeah. It sounds insane, but I promise you, it did happen.
I believe it. I have seen a lot and have heard a lot, so I'm willing to believe it.
Yeah. I do wonder what other gods are out there, though. I don't think I'm gonna exactly be willing to worship anything. Wasn't exactly religious in my own world. As much as people, oddly enough, they were sort of... I'm not sure if religious is the right way, but for the most part in the last 15 years of my world, everyone sort of... They were holding out hope that one day a Messiah would be born. In one of the other villages, like a little south of where I lived, there was a prophet, and she had these big, beautiful golden feathers. They actually glowed with yellow phosphor, and yellow phosphor is extremely rare. Like, it only comes from the sun, and we had just lost the sun, too. But she always kept mentioning, at least from what I've heard from, like, the merchants and stuff that came through, that there was supposed to be a Messiah that would one day be born and bring salvation to our world, bring back the sun, or, I don't know, full details. But I've also heard that, like, people were being pessimistic about it, like, does this Messiah even exist? Had they been born yet? Who would it be? No one exactly knew who it would be. And I guess that sort of story got translated in a weird way in, like, World Machine's story. So, I don't know. I haven't really seen, like, the original program that World Machine was. I've only heard, like, little bits and pieces here whenever I ask about why my friend has such a particular interest with people from one world. But yeah, religion, not exactly my thing. I've never really been religious.
Yeah, again, like I said before, when all these things happen to you and you kind of keep going, God, why, and you don't really get a response, you kind of just stop believing.
Yeah, no, just if there's supposed to be someone out there that's supposed to protect you, why do they allow things to still happen to you?
Yeah.
I can understand the philosophy of taking the good with the bad, but for some people around here, it's just nothing but bad.
I was gonna say, you know, there's
Yeah. Especially when, like, a lot of the things that happen around you, like, they claim, like, oh, you know, God's cleansing the earth, or blah, 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 blah. Like, I know Wesker kept calling me, like, a Judas lamb, like, the entire time, and I was just like, dude, don't bring this Bible ideology to my face, okay? I'm just trying to figure out why I'm here.
Sorry, a what?
A Judas lamb.
Oh, a Judas lamb.
Judas.
Never heard that one before. Oh, shoot. Oh. Okay.
I was just like, man, don't bring your Bible ideology bullshit to my face. I'm just trying to live.
Yeah, now I understand that. Though, I guess religion really does sort of play a part in your life, considering
The cult.
cult, if I may comment. Yeah. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just
I mean,
making an observation.
to be fair, the god that they supposedly worshipped didn't even exist, so it was just made up by my grandfather.
Your grandfather made a whole cult.
You know what I hate?
Under a false belief.
In my fit of existence is pain and suffering.
Why did people believe him?
I forgot to hit a button.
He had money. He was generous. He gave people
Of
homes.
course.
And they obviously were too scared to question him, because if they did, they'd get kicked out, and then where would they be? They would lose everything. There were mothers with children that couldn't afford to go out on the streets if they were ever kicked out. And not only that, but my grandfather, a lot of the people in that cult that were higher up along with him, that were his right-hand man, they were very scary.
Fair enough. And yeah, I sort of understand that.
Don't get me started
I
on
guess
Elizabeth.
understand.
Ugh, I hated her. She freaked me out.
Oh well. But no, I can sort of understand, I guess, in that case, because if you're desperate enough and someone comes out of nowhere, gives you a place to stay, gives you meals to eat and stuff like that, and they start...
And they
trying to
tell
do
you
these
it's
things-
all because that they were chosen to be saved by this fake god. And that my grandfather was just his messenger, quote unquote.
Yeah, you don't really question the hand that feeds you in that case.
Yeah.
And for some people, they kind of take it to the extreme, which I understand. But, well, I probably wouldn't do it, I think, if I was set in that situation. I sort of am in a predicament where I've got my house in a community from someone else. Granted, I did ask if I could take it, but, hold on, give me one second.
Kind of
Yeah.
captured by them.
Oh, excuse me.
And I feel bad for them.
Sorry, I'm adjusting myself.
Subjected to a lot of shit.
Okay. Sorry about that.
A lot of very not YouTube
You're fine.
Logo.
You're fine.
But yeah, no, I can sympathize with the cultists. Some of them are probably or at least were good people at one point, but maybe got manipulated into doing things they originally maybe didn't want to do.
Yeah.
So I sort of understand.
Yeah, thankfully my
Yeah.
dad was one of the few that, you know, kind of realized what was going on and left when he could. And since he was my grandfather's son, he,
He's the Messiah and all that.
yeah, he was able to
Though,
you know, come and go as he pleased, and one day he went and just never came back, so. Met my mom.
yeah. I guess your mother was out. It's really hard, especially if your life's pretty comfortable, to sort of break away from what you used to.
It's just the
Yeah,
unfortunate thing.
and
I don't know how comfortable your dad's life was originally, but I can only imagine since your grandfather
he was
had
showered
all this
with
money and all
gifts.
that.
Like, he was a celebrity. He was used to getting things. There was a time where apparently my mom had to kind of scold him because that still carried over. Even after he left, he was just expecting things.
It does make me wonder, though, what made him want to go after the cultists? Did he just want it?
Probably
to solve,
revenge.
Revenge for what? If it's not personal, you don't have to answer that question if it's a little too personal.
I think a lot of things happened in that cult that weren't okay. A lot of sacrifice and manipulating people, obviously. When I was in the castle, I found a classroom set up. So God only knows what they were teaching the children that were living there.
That's understandable, actually. Huh. Yeah, no, it's
So I was debating whether
not an
to
ideal
ask or
situation,
not type
to
of
say the
thing,
least.
so it's like,
I know that's putting it lightly. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
It's
It kind of, when you're going through a castle you've never been in before and you're starting to kind of piece things together and then you stumble across, a dirty, abandoned classroom, then things kind of get a little fucky for you. You kind of stop and go, I see, understood. Where is this man? I'm going to kill him.
is your I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure if this is personal or not, but is your grandfather still alive?
He's dead.
Okay. Well, depending on how you see it, that's good, at least.
Yeah,
It's
part of the
as
castle
someone on the
collapsed on
outside
him,
looking
so.
in.
got that dog in him.
Oh, yeah, no, that makes sense. But
Was I not muted?
it does make me wonder. He was a man with a lot of money and a lot of influence. With the whole, the whole castle, all these people, the cult, obviously, his god doesn't exist, it's a cult. But I do wonder how your curse plays into it, and I guess how the castle moves around between world and realm.
That's what I'm hoping to try to figure out. That's another reason why I want to try to find the castle. See if there's something that I missed. If it even has anything to do with it at all. Maybe I'm just unlucky. I don't know.
Maybe. It's certainly not a situation that I would probably wish on even my worst enemies.
Yeah.
Don't really have any of those, though, at the moment. But yeah, no,
Oh, wait. I didn't tell you
I
the
guess-
best thing that I found out. Well, I did kind of bring it up a little bit. The individual, an individual that I had to deal with a while ago, also having a meta me and is also running around.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's more than awkward.
Yeah, no, the only reason I matched with him was so I could flat out be like, why the fuck are you here?
I wouldn't even have matched with them.
And he's just like, oh, I don't know about you, but I have a life outside of tormenting you. And I'm like, yeah, you're tormenting other people, you piece of shit. You asshole, I know you.
No. Yeah, no. It's definitely.
And he's like, oh, well, let's hope that we don't run into each other in public. And I'm like, yeah, let's hope not. I'm going to shoot you between the eyes.
Yeah, I pray that you don't meet him in public. But,
Well, I would if I still had my guns, but anyway.
I mean, do you need one?
I have them. I have them, I just don't have them on me right now. They were in my bag, so.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, I am really intrigued. So if you ever need help with the situation, if you ever need help finding the castle or whatever, I guess not much of a fighter, but I'm curious about your story. I wouldn't mind being there if you ever needed anything.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I know we just met and all, but helping someone, I want to at least try to help someone.
It's nice getting
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much help I can be, but
Why do I get
I
the
am curious to
feeling?
See how the story progresses.
How did I know? How did I know? I could like feel the aura behind me, and I somehow knew. But if you ever need help with anything, either, I'm more than willing to help.
Well, yeah, I still excuse me one moment. I still have a family that I'm trying to find. My sister, especially. She didn't deserve to grow up in the world that we grew up in.
No one does.
Yes.
To say that she was sort of a little ray of sunshine for my family, it's putting it lightly. She sort of kind of lifted everyone's spirits up in the village. She was... She somehow, despite it all, was very happy, or at least put on a happy face. I'm not really sure what all was going through her own head, but she oftentimes tried keeping everyone, me and my father included, from just simply going mad or succumbing to depression or something. She always wanted to play, she always wanted to do this and that. She drew a lot and got really good at it. And I'm hoping with me being out here, she's still alive. She might be out there. I hope so for my dad too, but especially my sister. She deserves a life outside of the childhood that we both had.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you ever see someone who looks like me, a tunic that goes like midway down the thighs, pink everywhere. Hair's pink, somewhat long, shoulder length, maybe a little bit longer than that now. It's been 4 years. Pink feathers, pink tunic. If you ever do see someone like that, or even a brown owl, again, looks like me, not like an actual owl, just please let me know.
I will.
I would love to see where my sister is, and I would love to tell them that other people from our world did survive. Not a lot of people from our village, maybe, but there have been other survivors from our world, and we're just slowly trying to build a future for ourselves.
Mm.
Them being out there somewhere, even if I don't know where they are, is the whole reason why I'm out here.
Yeah.
And family means a lot to me.
Keeps us going.
Yeah, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, what time is it?
4:32 Eastern Sephiran time.
Oh, this place is gonna close in like the next half an hour. But yeah, no, I'd really like to talk to you again. Just
Yeah,
share
no,
short
certainly.
stories, maybe even help you in your quest if you ever really do need it. Like I said, it's not often I'm able to talk to someone who, I'm not sure if more open about the situation is the right term, but you know, someone that you can empathize with.
Can we get,
You've been through something similar, even if not in the most extreme way.
Mm.
Sure. Would you like that?
But yeah, if you ever need anything, you have my contact information. It's
Yeah.
the same thing outside of MetaMeet.
Okay.
I'll be around.
Yeah,
And
no,
I hope I'll
definitely.
get to see you again, because you're really nice to talk to.
You are too.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
Mm.
But yeah.
Yeah, no,
So
I'll.
now people start to call.
Yeah, I was about to say 30 minutes before the streets close. But yeah, no, I should probably get going anyway.
I'll get whatever you have the least watered
I
down.
can
that
take
drink
care
here.
of the milkshakes.
Oh, thank you.
Really drink much of mine. Oh, no. Hello.
Hello, goodbye.
Credits to pay.
Where am I located? There I am. Oh,
25 credits for voice.
Thank you.
But yeah,
It's weird. They send a person who doesn't eat.
if you ever need anything, let me know. I know I keep saying that like a broken record, but I mean it.
certainly.
It's nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. You take care of yourself, and let's hope your coworkers don't keep bullying you.
But, you know, when you mention you met someone I met in me, you know, they start crying.
I'm a coworker and I'm gonna bully you. So what's that?
Hi, Asmo.
Makes stuff.
Oh wait, actually no, I'm that coworker, so I have to, sorry.
Oh.
How are you treating my boy, huh? How are you treating my boy?
Someone, or are you just holding
Well, I'm treating
How
him.
are you treating my boy? This is our gem. This is our little star. This is our sunshine. How are you treating me?
Yeah, no, Mia, I'd say get out of here while you slept.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm gonna go now. Bye. It was nice meeting you. That was so cute.